course, with Kisner, Turner, Ratledge, and Armstrong. And Brett Austin will be the receiver for Andrew Woeck, making his first career start here today for the Wolfpack.
And you see the numbers in relief. They've been outstanding, rewarded pretty much for an outing he had last weekend against Maryland. 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 8 in that stint. And the guy that gets it up there, 91 miles an hour fastball, cutter, slider, change, and he's a competitor.
All right, so we'll get a look at Aaron Woeck, who's come a long way here to play his last couple of years at college, a transfer out of Western Nevada College in the junior college ranks. A native of Washington State is Andrew Woeck. And there is Jim Morris, who won his 900th game at the University of Miami last week in that series with Virginia. 1,400 wins in his 33 seasons as a head coach. And Elliott Avent has got 889 career wins, 664 here in Raleigh with the Wolfpack, and of course the great trip to Omaha last year in the College World Series for NC State. Two likable guys who are trying to know how important this month of April is. Particularly Avent, a year ago, realized how big April could be. A sluggish start a season ago, and the Wolfpack's kind of battling some things here too.
Well, they got them right where they want them, Wes. They were 3-6 a year ago in the conference. They're that way now, but last year, remember, they reeled off 16 wins out of their last 20 conference games, and that propelled them into postseason play, finishing up, as you said, in Omaha.
Well, the ball game last night went to the 6th inning and then ended in a 1-1 tie when it was suspended because of rain. And Jamie Roebuck will be behind the plate today. Scott Klein, the first base umpire, and Tony Walsh is our crew chief down at third. The game was delayed an hour and 15 minutes before it was finally suspended. And then they had great hopes of starting here at 1 o'clock today. But the rain that has come through the Triangle of North Carolina and is affecting other ACC series in this area as well has pushed this back 90 minutes. So we get ready to go finally with game 2, and then they'll try and complete the suspended game today before getting the third game tomorrow. But weather has really played havoc with the Wolfpack and Hurricanes here in Raleigh. And here's Woeck, and Carey bunts it to the first base side. And that's handled easily by the pitcher.
And you're seeing a lot of this in the college game these days. A lot of players try to bunt to get on base. You know, today with the rain, kind of a steady, light rain, it's going to be tough for the infielders to barehand bunts if you put them down in the zone where you need to drop a bunt on, because it's going to be slick and going to be hard to make that play. So you're going to see a lot of bunting, I would think, here today.
Tyler Palmer will stand in. 1 pitch, 1 out for Andrew Woeck. And the fastball in the dirt. Palmer comes into the game, 258, couple of home runs, 14 RBIs.
And he's been steady since he's come to Coral Gables. Actually a transfer from the University of Florida. Can run, bunt, do a lot of things.
Fastball up, 2-0. 330 on base percentage for Palmer. Senior in Jim Morris's lineup. And the 2-0 in there for a strike. You mentioned all the different pitches Woeck throws.
Yep.
He's got a lot of strikeouts for a reliever.
Well, actually, the 31 strikeouts in 21 2/3 innings is a better ratio than the All-American Carlos Rodon if you factor it all in.
2-1's a strike at the letters.
Rodon has 50 strikeouts in 41 1/3 innings. Woeck is, you mentioned 21 2/3 innings, 31 strikeouts. Actually a better ratio.
2-2 to Palmer. And struck him out.
There's a little cutter right there, a nasty pitch. That little cut there at the end. Very difficult. You get ahead of these hitters and you're going to make them hit your pitch. Hard to keep that shoulder in there because it looks like a fastball right down the middle and then just slides away at the end.
Willie Abreu next at 300 on the season. And a pitch away, 1-0 to Abreu.
And this guy is a stud. A freshman, big kid, a lot of power. He's going to hit more than that. Home run total is going to rise as the season goes. This kid is strong.
That misses 2-0. 6'3", 225 pounds is Abreu.
And he's saying the water's in his eyes, and he's calling timeout. There's a light mist in the air, and it will get in the hitter's eyes. No way to avoid it.
2-0. And it's a strike on the outside edge to Abreu. There was rain overnight. Hard drizzle this morning, and it's been drizzling on and off. The grounds crew here in Raleigh's done a marvelous job getting the field prepared to go here. And that's low 3-1 now to Abreu. But at the same time, both these teams trying to get these games in, particularly with NC State and Miami, Nick, just the way we talked at the top about how it sets up in the standings for them. 3-1. And a strike. Fastball in there from Andrew Woeck.
Plus, they have a half a game played, as you mentioned, from last night. They got to somehow deal with and shoehorn that in here before the weekend's over. So it's imperative they get this thing in here today.
Full count here to Abreu. And he'll serve it foul up the third base side by Jim Morris, who is a North Carolina native, returning here to his home state, the longtime Miami coach.
He played at your alma mater.
He did. Yeah, he is an Elon grad.
Mm-hmm. The Phoenix.
Now, back in the old days, it was not the Phoenix. They were the venerable Fighting Christians back in the day. 3-2. And another one fouled away.
Well, you can see one thing about Woeck here. He attacks. He doesn't mess around. He gets ahead of the count and works you. And this is a nice at-bat right here by Abreu, too. He's fouling off pitches, and this is an advantage for his ball club, too, to see the different pitches that Woeck throws here in the first inning.
3-2 ready. And ball 4. So a 2-out walk to Abreu will give the designated hitter Zach Collins a chance here with 2 down. And, well, here's the conditions as we start today, and the forecast is for more rain and the possibility of some thunderstorms in this area. And quite frankly, it's pretty optimistic given what it was last night. There was some thinking that last night, today might not even happen at all. And the fact they've been able to get this at least started is a good sign. There's one ripped on the ground at second, and Ratledge will handle it, and that's all for Miami. No hits. The Canes will leave 1 in their half for the first, and we'll get our first look at the Wolfpack at the plate when we continue from Raleigh. Left-hander Andrew Suarez gets the ball. We go to the second here, and Woeck allowed a walk, but it didn't hurt him, and he starts the second with a strike to Feger, who made the play at first. And Brad Feger at 228, just a home run and 17 RBIs for the senior from Naples, Florida.
You know, going back to that play, you know, one of the interesting things about that, sliding in the first, it actually slows you down. And the only reason I know that is because I watch the 100-meter dash every Olympics, and I never see anyone dive across the finish line. Otherwise, I'd be watching it for just that excitement factor.
Boy, Feger pulls that one between short and third into left field. So the first hit of the day belongs to Miami's first baseman, and it leads off the second.
They need to get him going. He's a solid hitter, Feger. He's a veteran guy. He's got some pop. His batting average is not indicative to the hitter that he is.
Caught up with a fastball, and that gives Ruiz an opportunity with the leadoff man aboard. The Miami third baseman at 242. And the pitch from Woeck is in there for a strike.
You know, Miami missing their best offensive player. And when I say this name here in Raleigh, just the skies may open. David Thompson is his name.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he's 328 hitter, and he had some surgery done recently.
Yep.
He may come back at the end of May.
His timetable is uncertain for Jim Morrison. You're right, that really kind of sidetracked him a little bit.
Because that's one big hitter in the middle of their lineup, and you put him around a Dale Carey, a Brad Feger, and the young guys Collins and Abreu. That's a pretty darn good offense.
Ball and a strike here to Ruiz. Popped up toward right center. On the run is Suggs, and he's got it for the first out. So Ruiz, a fly ball to right. And the 7-hole hitter is Alex Hernandez for Miami.
Second baseman number 7, Alex Hernandez.
Here's Hernandez at 242. And for the senior from West Palm Beach, Hernandez trying to do a little manufacturing here at the bottom of the order for Jim Morris's team. No score in the second in Raleigh. The mist and the rain continue to fall, and there's a pitch in for a strike.
Let's see here if Jim Morris tries something maybe along the lines of a hit and run if the count dictates it, maybe at 1-1 or 2-1. Try to get some things going. You see Jim with his stopwatch right there trying to time the delivery of the pitcher.
The 0-1. Swing and a miss, 0-2 to Hernandez.
In case you're wondering, that delivery right there on the fastball, 1.22. That's pretty quick to home plate. And if you know that as a coach, you better have a good base stealer out there before you turn them loose on a pitcher that's getting it up there that quick. You see the lead there, it's okay. It's not great.
Yep. Figure's been thrown out the only time he attempted a steal. That pitch is low, 1-2. Woeck, by the way, first pitch strike here, 5 of the first 7 guys have started off in the hole. And he's 1-2 now, and that's a little confidence building your first collegiate start.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why they reward him, because he can get ahead of hitters.
1-2. Did he go? He did. Strikeout number 2 for Andrew Woeck is Alex Hernandez, and there's 2 away in the Miami second.
Let's see where that bat ends up. Does it cross home? Oh, yeah. Turns out being an easy call right there.
That'll bring Kennedy to the plate. The Miami catcher and junior from Davie, Florida, with 2 down. Swing and a miss. Breaking ball, 0-1.
That's not fair. You're locked on fastball. He throws you off speed to start the sequence. Those numbers right there aren't great, but this guy is worth his weight in gold behind the plate. He's one of the best catchers in the conference.
The 0-1. Another strike.
In terms of home runs, though, I mean, 2 home runs, if you have them in today's college game at this stage of the season, is actually pretty good. The average 221, not so great, but again, this guy can flat out catch and throw back there.
Kennedy waits on an 0-2. Did he go? He did. Strikeout number 3, second in the inning for Andrew Woeck. And Miami's done. A hit that was left for the Canes in their half of the second. And Andrew Woeck and the Wolfpack still scoreless with Miami. Back to Raleigh right after this. Monty West Durham here at Doak Field and Dale Park. NC State, part of our ACC baseball package next Saturday at Clemson. Well, the Tigers, fun to watch offensively. We were talking about some of the struggles some teams have. Not the case at Clemson. They found some guys that can make some plays. Jack Leggett, by the way, picked up. He went over 900 wins earlier this week. Jim Morris did as well last week against Virginia. Jack Leggett's done the same thing.
2 great Clemson coaches, yeah. Coach Leggett's got, Steven Duggar swinging the bat hot there.
Yep.
Steve Wilkerson doing his usual thing.
Here's Lopez. 9-hole hitter starts the 3rd for Miami. And a strike from Woeck. His 20th in 29 pitches. To Brandon Lopez. Nick told you a moment ago, highly thought of, sophomore out of Miramar, Florida. Good size for a shortstop, 6'1". Pitch away, 1-1. Hitting just 175 against right-handers, though, is Lopez.
The way our society is set up, it might be
and that one toward right, and it will fall off the line foul over the top of the NC State bullpen. 1-2 to Lopez.
There's only like 3 to 4 feet from the foul line to out of play once you get deep in the corners. So not a lot of room.
You haven't been to the ballpark in Raleigh. They've done a marvelous job here. Renovated this facility, I'd say about 7-8 years ago. And have really done a nice job, and their baseball program under Elliot Avent's leadership has responded. And that's one of the things, Nick, as you and I travel the Southeast in college baseball, the ballparks and the commitment to the sport in this part of the country's been impressive. Really, not only the ACC, other leagues.
Yeah, it's Elliot's done a great job here, and he's here to stay. Just signed a long-term contract.
2-2 to center, and that is Fincher, and there's 1 out here in the Miami 3rd.
Attaboy, Finch.
That'll bring the top of the card back for Miami. And Dale Carey.
I was talking to Jim Morris about Dale Carey, and he said, last year he hit under 200. That's I'm talking about in the Open, 100-point turnaround. He said he put too much pressure on him because last year he was draft eligible. And that plays with your head because now you're putting pressure on yourself to have a big year. He had such a good sophomore year. He was hot in the ACC tournament, did some great things there, and then last year it just didn't fall into place for him. But he's back and doing well.
1-0 to left. Hit high and deep. Going back is Riley and gone. 5th home run of the year for Dale Carey, and Miami's second hit of the ball game gives them a 1-0 lead.
And he is back and doing well. he just launched that one. Dale Carey this is what we saw of Dale Carey his sophomore year. Forget his junior, that's all long gone. He's in the moment right now. Scouts are drooling over him. That ball was up and he made him pay. Watch him get on top of that pitch. And that's how you have to, hit him when you hit him in the mist. You almost have to get on top and hit him with topspin out of here.
So a 1-0 lead for Miami on the Carey home run, and here is Palmer with 1 out. So the Hurricanes try to take the early advantage here in Raleigh. Fastball inside, 1-1.
The Dale Carey home run's his 5th home run. That's more than he hit his first 3 years in the program.
Well, that's the first home run that Andrew Woeck has allowed this year in 23 innings of work. Now 1-2 to Palmer. And it'll be interesting, I would think, for Elliot Avent and his staff to see how Woeck handles this. Guy who hadn't allowed many extra base hits. In fact, coming in 21 2/3 had only allowed 2 doubles. And Palmer strikes out, and there's number 4 for Andrew Woeck. In fact, he's now struck out 3 of the last 5 he has faced in the ballgame. 2 away.
And that was that slider. It's violent. It's a hard-breaking slider. It's funny talking to Tom Holliday about Woeck. He was saying he's a guy that's trying to prove that a 5'10" guy can pitch in the big league. He's got a little chip on his shoulder, that he wants to be that guy.
Abreu puts it on the screen. 0-1. Well, this young man catches your eye now. This Willie Abreu.
Oh, yeah.
Drew a walk in the first. Now with 2 down. Change again, 0-2. What's a good-looking pitch from Andrew Woeck, Nick?
Yeah, he sees an aggressive, big, strong hitter, and he's going to just throw him that changeup. It's going to look like a fastball out of the hands. It's going to have that look and spin, and then all of a sudden just kind of falls off the table.
The 0-2. Fastball high, 1-2.
And he follows it up with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, which looked to the hitter after that changeup like 101. That's not fair. Now he can come in with anything.
Abreu lifts that one toward the third base side. Kisner gives it a look, but it's out of play, and the count will stay.
And that was a slider again. Let's see if they come back with a fastball, maybe something over the hands, because it's going to be tough to catch up with it after seeing that.
The pitch. Away, 2-2. It was a fastball.
And I don't know if they were trying to go up there. He set up outside, but that ball was up. And if you're going to throw one up the ladder, up and away, you can't get hurt. And now he don't want to run the count full. He's going to make it happen here.
The 2-2. Just missed. Low and away, now full to Willie Abreu.
Well, it comes to the point here where does Tom Holliday roll the dice and throw a 3-2 changeup, or just challenge him with a fastball? Jim Morris said. Morris is saying, okay, I'll take the 2-out walk if you're going to give me one.
3 balls, 2 strikes. There's strike 3. Strikeout number 5 for Andrew Woeck. Back-to-back Ks here in the third, but Dale Carey unlocks the ball game with his 5th home run of the year. Miami 1, NC State nothing. Ball is brought to you in part by Hardee's Chicken Tender Box. And we move along to the 4th here in Raleigh. A run on 2 hits and an error on Miami. Nothing for NC State through the front 3. And Andrew Woeck, the youngster from Washington State, back out to get the ball here in the 4th for NC State. This Wolfpack fans, they've become very, very faithful to Elliott Avent and his tenure here in Raleigh. Now they got a great ballpark, and folks are weathering the storm here today.
Yeah, part of this crowd's starting to look like the front row of a Gallagher concert.
Yes. The ponchos, you mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The drizzle's been on and off, and now it's just a pretty consistent mist, it looks like, here at Doak Field.
They reapplied some drying agent on the mound between innings. Something that we may see a lot of.
Yep. So Woeck will get the ball here in the 4th, and NC State's trying to snap a 6-game ACC losing streak here today. And that's one of the similarities. The Wolfpack had some struggles leading into April a season ago in a campaign that ultimately carried them to Omaha. And what a great trip for any program, but in particular one that's kind of been building the last handful of years. And interesting in watching Carlos Rodon here pitch last night, Nick, NC State's Rodon's numbers are not overwhelming this year. They're great All-America, one of the top players in college baseball, but there hadn't been a lot of run support for Carlos Rodon.
No, and they have not played defense behind him either, and that's really been the key. 4 losses, and a lot of it's defense related.
Zach Collins stands in to start the 4th, and Woeck misses 1-0.
Of course, I think they figured out his last 4 starts, they've averaged like 1 run they've scored, and then the defense has betrayed him.
Yep.
His record not indicative of how he's pitched.
There's a fastball strike. 1-1 to Collins.
You never know. We may see Rodon, the hitter, here today. Sometimes he DHs, sometimes he'll pinch hit.
1-1. That's 2-1 now to Collins. 50th pitch coming up for Andrew Woeck. Zach Collins is from Pembroke Pines, Florida. 6'3", 220-pound freshman. That is rifled foul over the top of the first baseman, Armstrong.
Went to American Heritage High School down there in South Florida. It's the western part of Broward County. Great program they have down there. And this is a big, strong kid. He's one of the better hitters they had in the fall.
2-2. Foul back. And we'll rewind that pitch. Jim Morris, incredibly successful at Georgia Tech before going to Miami, and then the Canes end up in the ACC in his tenure. 2-2, chopped on towards second. Nice play by Ratledge, and there's one away. Well done by Logan Ratledge on one of these little skimmers through the infield. And now Figure will get a bat with 1 out. Weather has caused some havoc all over with some of these series this week. In fact, Georgia Tech and Pittsburgh played at 9:30 this morning, trying to get their series concluded in Western Pennsylvania. The Panthers have won the first 2. They won yesterday in extra innings, won 5-0 this morning. They're trying to get the last game in. Florida State and Boston College are playing in Rhode Island, in Kingston, on the campus of the University of Rhode Island. Florida State won the first 2 there. 0-2 it is to Figure. Nick, how much positioning you think in the 14-team baseball ACC goes on Now, next week, we get to April. It gets pretty serious, doesn't it? Because you're 6 weeks from the tournament at that point.
Yeah, you better start getting it in gear, and that's where NC State a year ago went on a 16-4 run, right around this time a year ago. And some of the teams have injuries. They're trying to get guys back. I get that. But you want to start building that momentum as you get into the second half of the season, because the second half of the season starts next week.
Figure strikes out. 2 away. That is number 6 now in the ball game for Woeck.
He just violent. I mean, he just goes after you. A very competitive kid, and what a great spot to throw it. You're not going to get hit there at all.
Got to bring Ruiz to the plate with 2 down.
Well, it was a good choice to start this kid. He's done a nice job in relief, and he was rewarded for that with this start here today.
He struck out 3 of his last 4. He's retired 4 straight since giving up the 1-out homer to Dale Carey. It's the only mark in the ball game so far for either school.
Well, he played in the Northwoods League last year, did Woeck, and last summer, and he started like 2 or 3 games there and came into the fall, and Tom Holliday said, we're going to give everyone a chance to start in fall ball.
There's one to left. Riley makes the play on the run. Takes care of Miami. Boy, Bubby Riley, you're right. Get him out there with Fincher, Suggs. Some of those guys cover a lot of ground for the Wolfpack. 1-0 here in Raleigh.
On us, Woeck's keeping them at bay. We gotta find a way to piece some stuff against Suarez. His last 4 or 5 outings this year, he's been awfully tough on people.
Yeah, I noticed the ground's a little slick out there. Maybe a little more bunting as we get through here.
Well, we tried. Ratledge tried to lay the one down. I think he squared a little bit early, and still it took a great pick from Fiegler, first base, to make the play. So maybe we got to do a little more bunting. Get Nick Belmonte in this game.
Hey, April was so good to you last year. You kind of seeing some of those same characteristics with this ball club, Elliot?
There's no doubt about it, Wes. We've always played our best baseball late. It's just such a tough league. Gotten off to a tough start. Talked to the club about it last night. Talked a little bit this morning during the rain delay. We just got to stay in this race here. April and May have always been good to us. Stick together, and there's good baseball for the Wolfpack ahead of us.
Well, always appreciate your hospitality here.
Wes, always good seeing y'all.
All right. That's Elliot Avent, the NC State head coach, with us here as Miami bats in the top of the 5th, and Hernandez shoots one down to third, and Kisner handles that one, and there's one away. You gotta love the optimism, huh?
Yeah, well, hey, got him in the College World Series. Great leader. You can see Woeck just doing his thing. Hey, getting these leadoff hitters out. Like you said, the one mistake to Carey, and that's really, that's it. He left the pitch up and paid for it. But he's been outstanding since. Only 61 pitches.
Here is Kennedy. And on the ground to first. Armstrong to his right. And we'll flip it to Woeck. 2 away. So Jake Armstrong plays that one off his knees. Off the hot shot from Garrett Kennedy.
Did a nice job, though, sticking with it. And decided, okay, I'm not going to reach it by myself. I got to flip it over there. Anytime the ball leaves your hand, you leave, you bring in the ball clanking off the pitcher's glove in motion in the play. So nothing they could do there, but Woeck rolling right along.
2 down, pitch away from Lopez. 1-0.
You want your pitcher to get somewhere around 15 or less pitches an inning. And, he's right around that, Woeck is.
That's toward right and easily handled by Suggs. So Miami 3 up, 3 down in their half of the 5th. Halfway home in Raleigh, 1-0 Miami. Saturday here in Raleigh, and Dale Carey's got the only run of the ball game, Nick.
Probably the only mistake by either pitcher. Pitch was up, rides it out of the yard. Dale Carey having a fine year.
And he'll lead off the 6th here for Miami. The Canes 5-4 in the league, 2 above 500 on the year, and the senior from Wheeler High School in Marietta, Georgia, against Andrew Woeck. Still a little bit of mist and drizzle here in Raleigh. As Woeck goes to work. Pitch is low, ball one. You know, it's interesting. Tom Holliday has been such a good baseball coach, and now obviously the top assistant for Elliott Avent handles all the pitching. There's a strike, 1-1. It's one of those things that you got to believe that if it works out today here for Andrew Woeck, he's found his number 2, you know, behind Rodon.
And he just raved about the kid and said he really deserves the chance to go into rotation.
Carey laces that one down the line, and it is fair ball. Second hit of the ball game for Carey, and it's going to be a double. It's a stand-up double for Dale Carey. And it's his 8th double of the year, and it's a leadoff double for Miami.
Another pitch up, barrels it up. He leads with his hands, and then the barrel follows. If you're a highlight fan, they call that chula. Chula'd the wall down there. A little short hop. Well, the people back watching in Miami know what that means. A lot of highlight frontons in Miami.
So a leadoff double, and here's Tyler Palmer. And the left fielder squared the bunt, looks at a strike.
And that's college baseball today. You get that leadoff man on, you got to get him over to third base, especially in a game like today where it's very difficult to score runs. Good bat handler, 2-hole hitter, accomplished bunter. He's a very good bunter.
Oh, 1. Breaking ball, 1 strike.
I mean, if you want to get him over to third, you just bunt the ball right at the third baseman. That will vacate third. And the only play he'll have is first base.
Out for a visit with Woeck is the catcher, Brett Austin. Woeck is from Briar, Washington, which is right out there in the metropolitan Seattle area, near Linwood, just north of the city. 70th pitch on the way. And Palmer squares. Pushed it foul. 1-2.
Well, let's see if Jim Morris, what he decides to do here. 2 strikes worth of bunting, can't get it done. Does he have him just try to hit the ball to the right side on his own?
This is also where we talked about in today's college baseball. Here's the manufacturing of, and you see this much more than you used to see, 5 years ago.
I did the Florida State-Florida game on Tuesday night, and I saw 2 guys, one on each side, try to bunt a runner in from third with 2 outs. Just bunt for a base hit. Well, he's obviously showing bunt here. Let's see if he pulls it back or not.
And bunts it for the out. Palmer's out of there. 1 away.
One of the better bunters on the team, and that's disappointing. Not getting that runner over to third. There's a term in baseball, I call it the curse of the leadoff double, and I see it more than you would absolutely think about. And it comes when you can't get that runner over to third base with less than 2 outs.
And Nick, you know bunting better than anybody I know. Palmer go about his habit right there?
Well, you got to catch the ball with the barrel of the bat. He was actually gaining ground towards the ball as opposed to catching the ball moving back with a little bit of a recoil. Mm-hmm. He was actually going and pushing it a little bit with his body going forward, and that's probably why he fouled it off.
Here's Willie Abreu, big freshman in right field. There's a fastball strike. 0-1. So Andrew Woeck, after the leadoff double, gets Palmer to strike out trying to bunt.
Well, Woeck really frustrated Abreu his last at-bat. He didn't know what pitch he was throwing, and eventually threw him a pitch right down the middle that he took for strike 3.
0-1. Away, 1-1.
You know, Carey with good speed at second base. I don't know if Jim Morris rolls the dice here and starts his runner to steal third with the left-handed hitter up. Austin with a good arm behind the plate for North Carolina State.
1 ball, 1 strike. And Woeck gave Carey some consideration.
And this is a good thing for Carey to try to distract Woeck right here, because he's got to make a big pitch to a dangerous hitter. And Carey is doing his job, getting in the head of Woeck here, where he's diverting attention from trying to get the out with the hitter.
He's got 9 of their 23 stolen bases, does Dale Carey. That breaking ball hit back through into center field. Carey's going to round third. The throw in from Fincher is cut off, and it's 2-0 Miami. And Abreu delivers his 14th RBI of the year.
Just stays right down on that pitch. It looked like it had a little bit of life running away and kept that shoulder in. Carey's going to score easily with his speed.
So 2-0 Miami. Both the runs scored belong to Dale Carey. And with 1 out, here's Collins with a runner at first.
Good-looking young hitter Abreu. Was fooled his last time up, but got the big hit with the runner in scoring position.
And here's Elliott Avin on the march from the Wolfpack dugout on the first base side to talk to Andrew Woeck.
And Woeck, you know, he's at that point of the game where he hasn't thrown this many pitches all year, so you know they're going to stay on him.
Well, they're going to make the call, and Andrew Woeck will be done. 5 1/3 worked for Woeck. And struck out 7 along the way, Nick. And I tell you what, gave him some optimism here in Raleigh.
Yeah, had the cutter going, fastball going. Little late life sinker. Another slider. He lost the fastball last time through to Abreu. There's the bunting through, but he's been very effective, and that's the outing they wanted to get out of Woeck today.
So the Wolfpack trade Woeck for the left-hander, and this is DJ Thomas. 6'1", 193-pound senior from Riverside High School in Durham, North Carolina. 8th appearance of the year. 1-0 with a save and an ERA of 2.5 in nearly 11 innings, but 16 Ks in the 10 2/3 for DJ Thomas.
Just very durable ever since he came to Raleigh to pitch for Elliott Avent, Tom Holliday. He gives you good numbers, and 86, 89 miles on the fastball. The slider, he's gotten a lot better command on that as he's progressed in the program. Curveball in good shape.
2-0 Miami. Thomas starts when we come back.